You ever wonder why stress hits harder after 40? Imagine the following. You finish a grueling week and turn off your computer and step into the weekend. By all accounts, the pressure should be off. But as you sit down to dinner, your chest still feels tight. Your shoulders are up around your ears, and your mind is still scanning the room, searching for the next fire to put out. For years, you've told yourself that your stress has caused your workload. You believe that if you could just get through the next project, clear your inbox, or hit the next revenue milestone, the pressure will be off. But here's the thing, the pressure never lifts because the stress isn't coming from your calendar. It's coming from a silent physical habit you practice every single day, the habit of pushing through the moments your body is screaming for a break. Today, we're going to look at the physical feedback loop that keeps your nervous system locked in emergency mode. By the end, you will understand how to interrupt the loop in real time so you can actually feel calm you've been trying for years to earn without having to take a vacation or change your entire schedule to get it. You see, there is a specific decision you make almost every afternoon around 3 o'clock. You're sitting at your desk. Your eyes are dry from staring at screens. You feel a heavy, dull fog settling behind your forehead. Your body is sending a clear, quiet signal. It's saying, stand up, walk away, take a small break, drink some water, just breathe. Instead of listening, you ignore the signal. You grab another cup of coffee. You open up another tab on your computer. You force your eyes back to the screen and tighten your jaw. You tell yourself, I just need to finish this copy. Then I can rest. Then I can take a little break. There's something I want you to understand that happens biologically. Ignoring physical exhaustion or overwhelm is a survival signal. Your brain doesn't know you're writing an email. It assumes you're running from a predator. It floods your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline to override your fatigue. The truth is, you finish your task, but at a massive physiological cost. You have just chemically reinforced the idea that survival requires anxiety. The reality is, in your 20s, your body could absorb the cost of adrenaline. But in your late 40s and into your 50s, that bill starts coming due every single day. You can't willpower your biology anymore. And you might be experiencing your sleep as it's not restorative like it used to be. You might be waking up at 3 a.m. or in the middle of the night with your heart racing, your mind spinning over problems that aren't actually emergencies, trying to problem solve the tension or the open loops that remain from the previous day or week. Many of us are experiencing this modern trap. There's talk endlessly about productivity telling us just to grind harder or to optimize your morning routine. If you're already running on empty, adding a 14-step morning routine is just another chore that raises your baseline tension. We're going to look at the exact mechanisms of this chronic stress spike, how it bleeds into your relationships, and the quiet physical shifts that you can use to restore actual safety to your day. What this will do is bring some calm into your day and stop the endless loops of stress spikes. The habit of ignoring your body's warning signs is the primary driver of chronic stress spikes. We wear our ability to push through like a badge of honor. We think it's what makes us successful, but in reality, it's the exact mechanism that keeps our nervous system from ever returning to baseline. Your body learns and internalizes these patterns over time. If you spend 8 hours a day holding your breath with shallow breathing and tightening your jaw and ignoring your physical needs, your brain assumes that you are in constant danger. It locks you into a high alert state. Some people call this state the phantom fire, and it begins to distort our way of thinking because we're always on guard and we're trying to put out fires and we're always on alert. When you are chronically tense, everything looks like an emergency. A slightly curt email from a client or a minor delay in a project feels like a threat to your survival. You aren't reacting to the reality of your business. You are reacting to the survival chemicals flooding your blood. What we experience is a chemically fueled loop. We become physically dependent on our own stress hormones to get work done. And that's really the insanity of it. I mean, we don't actually know that this is happening. We're not thinking about this. But the cortisol and the adrenaline that's running through our blood system is actually fueling our work, and we become dependent on that and need that just to get work done. Many of us run on stress for so long that we don't know how to create momentum without it. We use anxiety as our primary fuel source, and we are terrified of what happens to our performance if we let the pressure go. In my journey, when I realized as an entrepreneur, this is what I was experiencing day to day, I thought it was so crazy making. I couldn't believe the reality of just being dependent and addicted, basically, to these stress hormones and needing it as fuel to get things done and constantly putting it in place day to day. And my constant state was stress. It was my default mode of existence. And maybe you're experiencing some of the same thing where you use anxiety and stress as a primary fuel source to get things done. Let's consider the procrastination stress engine. I want you to think of Michael, who's a composite picture of a client, many clients that I have worked with over the years. And honestly, he's a picture of my former self, things that I've gone through as an entrepreneur. So what Michael does is he delays a task until the last minute because the pressure of the looming deadline is the thing that triggers enough adrenaline to overcome his exhaustion and to actually get it done. Procrastination is definitely overrated, and we may be using it to spike stress hormones so it motivates us to get things done at the last minute. But it's also the flip side of the coin of perfectionism, which we'll be talking about in future videos. Then there's a withdrawal effect. Have you ever experienced the physical discomfort of stillness? I know I have. Think about Michael again. When Michael actually has an hour with nothing to do, he feels uncomfortable, jittery sensations. There's a nervousness that just won't stop. He mistakes this chemical withdrawal for boredom and laziness and immediately finds a new task to create a fresh spike of cortisol and keeps the stress loop going. But here's the trade-off. Adrenaline-fueled work is sloppy. It's reactive and it's incredibly draining. You can build a business this way, but you cannot sustain it without burning out your physical health. And I realized in my journey that I was spending days basically throwing spaghetti at the wall sometimes. It's like I was just trying to get through everything that I thought that needed to be done. Answer every email, answer every message, just deal with a constant list of to-dos, but I wasn't really looking at what I really needed to do. I wasn't working smart, and I wasn't auditing my time, doing the 20% that produces 80% of the results. I never really asked myself, what can I eliminate? What can I delegate? And what can I automate in what I'm doing? And actually, I found out that there was a good 2/3 to 4/5 of what I was doing that was not really moving the needle, as they say. It wasn't really increasing profit or revenue or actually honoring my time. I really wasn't stewarding my time well at all. I was just trying to feel better because of all the things I thought I needed to do and everything that I was looking at. And I realized that my email inbox became a taskmaster and it was like an extra boss. This was so crazy making to me. I couldn't believe I was doing this. And it wasn't until I decided to get ruthless with email and communications or correspondence that I really started changing the way I went about work. That could mean just turning off notifications regarding not seeing every email that comes in as a notification on your computer or your phone. Also, creating labels and filters so you only look at certain things when you're ready to look at them. Otherwise, they just go into your archive folder. Or how about just filtering things that just shouldn't be in your inbox to begin with? Or unsubscribing. And then there's just doing email at better times during the day. And for me, I don't start my day with it. Actually, I look at email later in the morning after I've done my best work and my best thinking. You might not be able to do that, but I bet if you really put your mind to it, you can really do email quite differently than what you're doing. And actually, that can bring more peace and calm into your mornings and into your afternoons. I'd like to talk to you about the myth of Sunday recovery. There's this idea that a weekend off can undo 5 days of constant physiological emergency, constant stress. You cannot run your engine in the red zone for 60 hours and expect a quiet afternoon on Sunday on the couch to repair the damage. Your body doesn't work on a weekly schedule. It operates in the immediate present. There's something that people experience called the leisure sickness phenomenon. It's why Michael gets sick or gets a splitting headache the moment he finally tries to relax on vacation, when the adrenaline finally drops and the immune system collapses under the weight of accumulated inflammation. I mean, think about that. Have you ever spent some time on the weekend or just have a long weekend away or even gone on vacation and all of a sudden you don't feel the best? It's almost like you're detoxing or you feel like you might be coming down with something. And it's your adrenaline finally dropping and your immune system finally relaxes or goes into a lower gear under the weight of the accumulated inflammation. Sometimes on Sunday afternoons, we can experience the flatline state. It's how resting on a Sunday often feels like numbness rather than recovery. You're staring at a screen, mentally checked out, and unable to engage your kids or your spouse or even your hobbies or whoever you live with. Or if you're at home alone, you're just staring at the wall or just ignoring what's on TV, even though the TV's on right in front of you. You aren't resting, you're just frozen. But here's the alternative. Real recovery has to happen in small daily increments, not outsourced to a future vacation or a Sunday afternoon after spending 50, 60 plus hours of stress mode. Then there's the relational bill of a tense leader. The truth is our physiological stress state directly impacts our marriages, significant relationships, our significant others, as well as our children, the people we care about, and even the team we work with. You might think you're keeping the stress to yourself, but your nervous system is broadcasting its state to everyone in the house or everyone in your workplace. Your family doesn't just need your physical presence. They need a version of you that is safe to be around. I mean emotionally safe, someone who's present, someone who's ready to engage and ready to be the best version of themselves. You don't want to be the distracted parent or the distracted partner. Think about what happens sometimes when you're stressed or you come home stressed and you're around the dinner table. You might be a little irritable and have a quick, sharp response to a simple question. You might be looking at your watch or there's a lack of eye contact. There's also the co-regulation effect, and that's how we as humans naturally read each other's nervous systems. It goes like this. If you're vibrating with tension or stress, your spouse or partner and your kids will unconsciously match that tension. Your home becomes a high alert environment, even if no one is speaking or nobody's saying anything. It's a hard truth. Pushing through doesn't just damage your health. It erodes the warmth of your home that you're working so hard to build, and it erodes good, healthy, and positive work environments. What we need to do is reclaim the downshift. We need to physiologically learn how to shift gears, shift into a lower gear, and experience more calm states. I'd like to give you some highly actionable, low-effort physiological practices to interrupt that stress loop. You see, reversing this cycle doesn't require hours of meditation or a complete lifestyle overhaul. It requires micro decisions of physical safety made in the middle of your workday, where you're giving your body a different signal. You're giving it permission to breathe, to be calm for a moment, not to have to focus on a task or put out a fire. You can do the 90-second transition practice. What you're creating is a buffer by taking 90 seconds between meetings or tasks to close your eyes, drop your shoulders, and just exhale slowly. You can also do a body scan. When you catch yourself in the act of pushing through, you might notice the tight jaw or the shallow breathing, the clenched fists, or the tension in your muscles. And what you want to do is intentionally release the tension that you're noticing or you're aware of as you're working. You might do that by taking some deep breaths. And as you notice different muscle groups and the tension there, just breathe out. As you inhale a deep breath, you're going to breathe out. And as you breathe out, you release the tension in each muscle group. And it just takes a minute or two. And what you want to do is create a new rhythm. You want to move from constant grinding to a rhythm of focus and release. So this is a practice where you focus for a period of time and then you allow yourself to release. Physically, you're releasing stress, tension, and you're giving your brain consistent proof that the threat has passed. You're giving your brain permission to be calm, and knowing that it doesn't have to be in a constant stress state. What is the true indicator of success? Is it being successful at the expense of your physiological and emotional health? Is it being in a constant stress mode or threat mode? I think the cost is too great. So the question is, what is the physical cost you are paying right now to maintain the illusion that everything is fine? There really is an alternative way of working. And when I discovered that my physiological reality could not handle more stress or constant stress, and I needed to find a new way of working, everything began to change. And that actually helped my mindset to change. It gave me a different way of thinking. And it also encouraged me to be kind to myself. I wasn't very good at that for many years. I would just push through and I would just do the next right thing at my own expense and really at the expense of others because I wasn't the best version of myself. And I wasn't giving myself, God, or others the gift of being really present. Waking up without a heavy weight in your chest isn't a luxury reserved for those who have retired. It is the baseline of a life well lived. Your business was meant to support your life, not to consume your health. It is time to stop running and finally come home to yourself. If you watched this far, you probably recognize that this habit of pushing through isn't something you can sustain any longer. It has become a physical weight that you can't carry anymore. But after 20 years of treating stress as fuel, you can't just decide to be calm. Stillness feels uncomfortable. It can even feel wrong. Breaking a 2-decade habit of constant alert is incredibly difficult when you're trying to do it in the exact same room where you work. That's why I built the Common 7 Challenge. This is a 7-day window designed to interrupt your stress loop. You won't find any masterclasses, slide decks, or heavy productivity systems here. We focus on very short physical practices that you can do at your desk. It's a free email challenge that is delivered to your inbox daily for 7 days. There are no 5 a.m. cold plunges or rigid protocols. This places a small physical wedge between you and the constant noise, letting you see your life and your business with clear eyes and a better lens. If you are ready to find a different physical rhythm, the link is in the description. It is a practical way to start the work we've talked about today. And if you want to learn more about the truth behind why you feel drained every day, check out this video right here. I'm Dr. Sean. Make it a great day.